Hey everybody! Welcome to what is sure to be another great season of Ramblin' Michigander. I cannot tell you what a long winter we have had here in Michigan. I don't even know where to start. For starters, I have been working 50 plus hours a week, every week since about October. So I have had nothing but work all season. Additionally, I had to spend most of the winter working on that duplex that I showed you in my last video, which of course took a lot more money and time than I had planned. And then, in the middle of January, the tenants moved out of my other rental house and left the place a mess. So as soon as I finished at the duplex, I had to immediately start renovations at another property, which is still not done. I'm hoping will be done in the next month. So long story short, I am pretty much drained both physically, emotionally, financially, and I am so pleased that the weather has finally turned warm again. April was I read a headline somewhere that said April was the coldest April in like 140 years that Michigan has experienced. It was below freezing, significantly below freezing just a week ago. And now it's got to be close to 60 degrees out here. So it's absolutely fantastic. It feels great. And I have been looking forward to unwrapping the Queen for like the last month. I've been waiting for this day. So finally it's here. Let's do it. Well, that's it. The great reveal was a little hampered by the cover not wanting to come off, but what the heck. I guess now I just gotta de-winterize, give her a bath, clean her up, that kind of thing, because we're going camping this Saturday. Today's Tuesday, so I only got a few days. Might do it today, might wait till tomorrow because I gotta work tonight. Anyway, yeah, 2018. Let's celebrate. Alright, well, now that I have thoroughly humiliated myself in front of the entire world with my pathetic white boy dancing, I think it's time to basically just tell you about what the plan is for this year. Things I'm going to do. Obviously, I don't plan out everything in advance. I don't have all my trips planned out. I have a few things in mind, but mostly we just sort of, hey, we got this coming weekend, let's do something. Where are we going to go? Mostly I want to talk about adjustments I want to make to the Queen. This is the first year where the Queen is usable from day one. Both years prior to this, I've had a lot of work to do before I could use her, especially that first year, but then the second year too. But she's far from perfect yet, and it's going to take quite a bit of work, and money to get her to where I want her to be, but let's talk about that. One of the things I want to do is replace the windshield. Maybe not the entire windshield itself, maybe just have it resealed, have this molding replaced, because I do notice I'm getting some water under the driver's, like around the pedals area. My feet get wet sometimes when it's been raining. I think it might be the windshield. So we will see, because as you can see around here, it's shrunk and it's coming up. So I'm thinking maybe it's not sealed as well as it should be. So I'd like to see about replacing that. Another thing is the awning. I don't know how well you can tell from here, but you see how the awning is at an angle like this because the roof is not flat. where it's mounted. The awning, that awning was made to be mounted on a vertical surface. And so when the awning comes out, it comes out flat, right? And so if it rains at all, it just catches that water. It doesn't run off. So one of the things I have to do is actually have triangular brackets made out of aluminum for the awning to tilt it out this way. So it'll still be mounted in the same location, but it'll be tilted out. That way when the awning comes out, it'll come down at an angle and be much more useful. Now, the refrigerator, I noticed, was starting to get kind of weak. But one of the things I did notice in addition to that was it was working better under electric than it was under gas. So I'm thinking maybe the gas light where the flame is dirty and needs to be cleaned. If that's the case and I can clean that and get a better flame and make the refrigerator work better, that would be great, because a refrigerator is like $1,000 and I'd really rather avoid that if I can. The air conditioner, that's another one. At the end of last year, the air conditioner quit working. Fan blows, the compressor runs, but it doesn't get cold. So I think all the coolant leaked out, which is annoying because I had it recharged just a year ago. So the air conditioner's probably shot. I mean, it's 20 years old, so it's time to replace that. I'm already saving up for that. Back here on the bumper, I'd like to move the spare tire over and then mount some kind of a storage box on the bumper. I've got this storage compartment under here, which is okay. It's quite a bit of storage. I need to organize it better. But other than that, I don't really have a ton of storage in this thing. Space is kind of at a premium. I got some cabinets and stuff inside, but I'd really like to have a good, solid storage box on the back so I can keep things in it. But I don't want it to be too big. I don't want too much overhang. I was thinking possibly at first putting on a receiver hitch and then one of those carriers that you see on the back of cars sometimes in RVs. Big rack back here, but they come back to like about here, and there's already quite a bit hanging over the rear tires, so if I extend it even more, that's going to be a lot of swing, and the Queen barely fits in a parking space as it is. She's so long. If I added 2 or 3 feet of stuff behind it, I'm never going to fit in a parking space, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of a Class B. Let's see. Let's go around here. What else is there that I want to do? Again, this isn't all necessarily going to happen this year, but these are things I want to do. Again, I got to replace all this rubber. I've actually got the rubber in. It's in the garage. I just haven't gotten around to actually replacing it, so I got to do that. That one's bad. This one's bad. That one's actually missing. And the two up top here are also pretty bad. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see the screen. All right. The water heater. If you may recall, the water heater that came with the Queen was actually a self-igniter. It's got a switch inside. You flip the switch on and it ignites itself, but the tank was bad. The tank had busted and it was leaking. So I pirated this water heater off my dad's old RV, and you have to actually light this one with a lighter, which is okay. I actually don't use the propane option very much. I use the electric option more, but the pilot light on this one doesn't work very well. So fixing/replacing this water heater is in the future somewhere. I don't know where, but it's in the future somewhere. Maybe even getting a new door on this one. The furnace has never worked. From day one, it's never worked. The fan turns on and it blows, but it doesn't get hot. I do so little camping when the weather's cold that this really hasn't been a priority for me. And when the weather is cold, I just have to be plugged in or something and I can use the space heater. So someday probably, but not really in a hurry with that one. Let's see what else. I'd like to get better wheels someday as well. I really don't like these hubcaps and these beauty rings. They're kind of, I don't know, they're just sort of retro and not crazy about them. So ultimately, to make it look better, I'd like to take all these decals off and completely repaint her, but that's a pretty tall order. Let's see. Let's go inside, shall we? All right. She's a bit messy right now. I didn't clean her before putting her away. That was my fault. But anyway, let's go on inside here. Not a whole lot to do inside. I've gotten the interior pretty well sorted out. I got my bed sorted out. This is one of the things. The doors here. Let's see if I can get some better lighting in here a little bit. Here we go. Okay. When I replaced the floor, there was a metal, basically a metal bracket, I guess, a piece of molding or something, I don't know how you trim, piece of metal trim, that was attached to the floor here, and then it came up and over the tub surround and then down kind of at a 45-degree angle, so any water that came down would run into the tub and down the drain. But that wouldn't work with the new toilet tank. Alright. Wouldn't work with the new toilet tank. See, there's just no room here. I can't even get my finger in this space. So I had to take that metal trim off. And so since then, I've basically just had this opening here, and it's unfinished. There's nothing protecting the fiberglass. And when I take a shower, water will easily splash out onto the floor. So what I have to do is I take this shower curtain and actually use like a key or a screwdriver and stuff it down into here to keep the water in the tub. So that's one of the things that I want to sort out. I actually would like to get rid of these doors entirely. I'd like to get rid of these doors and actually replace them with something that's actually either glass or plexiglass or some kind of an opaque glass to get some more light into this area. This area feels very confined, and I'd like to open it up a little bit, but at the same time I'd like some kind of waterproof door here with a waterproof threshold to keep the water into the shower without having to use the shower curtain. So that's going to be a more major project that I'm going to need my friend Michael's help with. You met him before. He's really good with that kind of thing. So we're going to figure that out someday. Maybe this year. I don't know. We'll see how things go. We'll see how his schedule works, how my schedule works, if we can coordinate it. Up here, obviously I need to get more organized. This is all my camera equipment that I've accumulated. I need to find a better way to keep this stuff organized in storage. But more importantly, in this area where the passenger seat used to be, I want to build some kind of a platform for Sumo that'll set him up about this high so he can see out the window while we're driving. And then I'll have to find a way to secure him with a harness and a leash and stuff so he won't fall off. And additionally, what I'd like to do, if possible, is find some way to build some kind of a stair system, maybe like a spiral stair or something like that, so he can get on and off of it as he pleases on the occasional times when I have to leave him in the van to go somewhere. Sometimes I have to leave him inside while I go shopping or what have you. And he gets kind of nervous when he's down on the floor because he can't see anything. He can't see out. He doesn't know where I've gone. I think he'll feel much better if he can get up here and actually look outside. I think it'll make him more comfortable. Plus, he'll enjoy the traveling a little more when he can actually see, rather than just being down here on the floor and having to stare at the wall the whole time we're driving. That's another project that'll involve my friend Michael, because he's the wood master. I also wanted to show you my entertainment system. I talked about this a while back. You saw me set up this TV and run the wires and everything for the plugs in here, but I never really explained it. A few things have changed. First of all, the TV now has, if I can do it with one hand, I put in a Roku right there. And the Roku is nice because it actually is powered by the TV with this USB port. And I have a AT&T Wi-Fi jetpack with unlimited data on it. So I can use literally as much data as I want, and I take that with me, and I have Netflix and Hulu and everything else that I want on the TV. And because the TV is DC powered, I don't have to be plugged in for any of that stuff to work. It all runs on battery if I have to, which is fantastic. I've also got this external speaker here that I need to find a way to mount. I'd like to mount it, something like that or like that. Something like, something looks good, but it's out of the way. Because the speakers on the TV are lousy. They're absolutely awful. You turn it up full blast and you can't really hear it. And the other problem is that, come on, get back there. It's a lot easier when I don't have the camera in my hand. The other problem is that the TV doesn't tilt down enough. So when you're sitting down here and you're watching TV, sometimes the screen actually gets too dark because you're sitting at too much of an angle to the TV. So I think what I'm going to do is actually put washers behind the bracket up here to tilt the bracket outward and bring the TV down a little bit. One we'll have to see how that goes. Might give that a try and see if it works. It could bring the TV down too far and actually cause it to hit here. We will have to see if I can make that work. So yeah, those are the main projects for this year. There are lots of little projects as well over the course of the lifespan of this this beast. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do. The other thing, also a Michael project. I want to add some kind of a lip on this countertop here. You know, maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch above, going all the way around, so that when things are sitting on the counter while I'm driving, they don't fall off. Because things are constantly falling off the counter because I don't have anywhere else to put them. The problem with that plan is this thing here. Because this thing comes up to extend the countertop, and you know, then I can't put anything here. So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that. I might have to sacrifice this thing, which I'm not crazy about, but I don't use it very much, so I could probably live without it. I also want to improve the lighting. I don't like the fluorescent lights. This one obviously is missing the cover, has been since the beginning, so it's kind of a harsh light. Plus they use a little bit more power than I'd like. I'd much prefer an LED type of light here with some kind of a soft white bulb in it. I also wanted to maybe put LED strip lighting all around the ceiling. I actually bought a roll of LED strip lights that have a remote control and change color and all kinds of cool stuff. The problem was when I hit the button for the remote for the lights, the TV turned off. It uses the same damn frequency as the TV, so I couldn't use them. So anyway, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be making videos again. It just feels great. I'm so happy that the weather has finally turned. It felt like winter was never going to end. So that's that for today. We are going camping on Saturday. We are going to the Sanford Lake recreational area. It's a state campground, basically. So, and of course, my folks are coming, and Mike and Gail will be there as well. So it's going to be a nice little reunion, so to speak, down in the campground, and a great start to 2018. So take care, everybody. We'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.